Hello everyone, and welcome to another episode of Forgotten Devices on ourownweapons.com. Hello everyone, and welcome to another episode of Forgotten Weapons on ourowndevices.com. Hello everyone, and welcome to another episode of Our Own Weapons on ForgottenDevices.com. Hello everyone, and welcome to another episode of Cabinet of Weapons on ourownweapons.com. Hello everyone, and welcome to another episode of Forgotten Cabinets on ourweaponsdevices.com. Hello everyone, and welcome to another episode of Cabinet of Curiosities on Our Own Devices. I'm Jean Messier, and today I'm at Strachan Armories in Winnipeg having a look at a not-so-forgotten weapon. This is a C1A1, which is the Canadian version of the FN FAL. Now, of course, the FAL was a combat rifle that was adopted by a number of NATO countries as well as affiliated nations during the Cold War, and just as the AK series of rifles became emblematic of the Eastern Bloc and the Third World, so too did the FAL become known as the right arm of the free world. So Canada was actually the first country to adopt the FAL as its standard combat rifle in 1954, and its initial order of 2,000 of these rifles really helped set the standard for the design. However, they would receive modifications based on which country ordered them. So for example, in Canadian and British service, where it was known as the L1A1, the FALs were produced as semi-auto only rifles. They didn't think that full auto had any advantage. It was uncontrollable. It wasn't useful. Also, they were converted from the original metric pattern to imperial or inch pattern. And in Canadian service, they had a bunch of little details such as a shorter receiver and a stripper clip guide. So this could actually be loaded with stripper clips without removing the magazine. The trigger guard could be removed and replaced with a larger winter trigger guard. So you could actually use gloves in cold weather, as well as a little adjustable dial sight on the top, which could be adjusted from between 200 and 600 meters, among other details. And if you really want to get into the weeds on this, I would highly recommend you check out Ian McCullum's video on the C1A1 over on Forgotten Weapons. But I'm really not here to talk about the C1A1 itself. Rather, I want to talk about an accessory that was issued with it. Now, when you're a raw recruit or a cadet and you're learning basic rifle handling or marksmanship, this takes a lot of practice. It takes a lot of time on the range. It takes a lot of lead down range. And this can get logistically complicated if you're using full power military ammunition. So for example, this is chambered in 7.62 by 51 NATO. And those rounds are expensive, they're loud. This becomes a problem if your military base and your range are near civilian areas. You need a special range with the right berms and backstops in order to absorb the rifle fire. It's logistically complicated. And so what a lot of militaries have done is to issue cadet rifles or training rifles chambered in .22 long rifle. And there are a number of advantages to this. .22 LR is extremely cheap, so you can fire off massive quantities of it without breaking the bank. It's quiet, it doesn't produce a lot of recoil, and so it's not as distracting as a full power round for a rookie shooter. You can concentrate on the proper techniques for shooting and aiming and proper handling of firearms. And there are a number of different approaches to this. Certain militaries will just adopt a civilian sporting rifle, such as the Savage L144 in British service or the TAZ-8 in Russian service, or they will convert a standard military rifle into a .22 caliber training version. So, for example, the German KKW, which was a .22 caliber conversion of the Mauser KR-98K, or the rifle number 8, which was a .22 caliber conversion of the Lee Enfield number 4. Now, in 1959, the British Ministry of Defense decided that it needed a .22 caliber training version of the L1A1, which was the FAL in British service. And so they put out a request for proposals, and this was answered by the Birmingham Small Arms Factory, or BSA, and they produced a prototype. However, these were not adopted, and for a number of reasons. Number one, MOD decided that they were just too expensive, and number two, these were full conversions. These were essentially just a .22 caliber version of the L1A1, meaning that they were useless in combat. You were taking up the role or the space of a perfectly good combat rifle. So this was considered to be not an optimal solution, and the British military went without a .22 caliber version of the L1A1 for many years. However, in the 1970s, there was a renewed call for a training version, and thankfully, by this time, there was a more convenient and reversible solution readily available. And this was a drop-in conversion kit manufactured by Heckler Koch in Germany. Now, in 1956, Germany actually briefly adopted the FAL as its own standard rifle under the designation the Gewehr G1, and they produced this conversion kit to go with it. However, the FAL didn't last very long in German service because of politics. You see, the Belgians still had very fresh memories of the German occupation, so when Germany asked if they could produce the G1 under license, FN said no. They had to pay full price for Belgian-manufactured rifles. So for reasons of cost and national pride, Germany eventually developed its own indigenous battle rifle, which was the G3, which it adopted in 1959. They continued, however, to produce these conversion kits for other nations that adopted the FAL, and in the 1970s, a modified version of this kit, which was converted to inch pattern, was adopted by the British and the Canadians. And that is what we're looking at right now. So this kit comes in this nice fitted wooden box, very German. You can pop these latches in the front here and open that up to reveal the contents. So there are three basic components to this. The first is the subcaliber barrel insert, and this converts the barrel from 7.62 millimeter or 30 caliber to 22 caliber. And that's not a very large difference in diameter, so the walls of this are very thin, so you have to be very careful inserting this into the barrel so as not to damage it. The next component is this bolt assembly here. So this is a bolt and a smaller return spring, and this converts the rifle into a simple blowback 22 caliber semi-auto rifle. And then finally, we have two magazines, which as you can see are full-size FAL magazines, but they have a little insert with a 22 caliber set of feed lips. And that's all there is to it. So let's actually bring the rifle back up here and let's see how this actually goes inside. All right, so first step in disassembling the C1A1 is to remove the magazine. So magazine releases back here, and that just tilts out like that. Second step is to cock the action to get the hammer out of the way, otherwise it will block the bolt. Look at that. And then the disassembly switch is right here. You tilt that back, and then the whole action tips over, and you can remove the bolt as so. And this, to make this a little bit more visible, will also remove the top cover. So now we are ready to insert our 22 caliber conversion kit. So we'll start by inserting the barrel insert. So that goes in like that. And then we insert our bolt assembly, which goes in the same rails as the regular bolts. That just goes in like that. And then we'll put in our top cover. And there we go. We have converted our L1A1 to 22 caliber. So we can just put in our magazine. And we are ready to go. And you can see this uses a lot of the same hardware as the original L1A1. It uses the same bolt handle, same top cover, same hammer, same fire control group, same everything. The only things that have changed is it no longer has the same bolt or barrel. And from what I've heard, these were actually very reliable. A lot of these drop-in conversion kits didn't operate reliably, or they didn't operate reliably with a whole bunch of different types of ammunition. You had to be very specific about it. But apparently these worked really well. And also, if you drop this into an automatic version, a select fire version of the FAL, at least an inch pattern one, they would actually fire in full auto with 22 caliber ammunition, which is kind of cool. So a couple of other things to show you on this particular rifle. You'll notice this red band on the front here. This means that the rifle has been designated as a training rifle for use with this kit. And each unit would be issued a certain number of these rifles, and the stock number of the rifle would be placed on the buttstock here. So you'll see this is number 6, and these stickers right here apparently were off of license plates, which I found kind of funny. So I would love to take this out to the range and find out just how well this conversion kit works, but unfortunately I can't. See, here in Canada, the FAL and all of its derivatives are considered prohibited weapons, and so unless you have a grandfathered prohibited license, which I do not, you can't own one or shoot it. So this is going to have to remain here at the armory, and it will be up to another YouTuber to take this out to the range and see how it works. But still, I thought this was a neat little piece of kit, a very elegant and reportedly effective piece of kit, and I thought it would be neat to show you just how it works. Anyway, that's all I have for you today. Thank you so much for watching, and a big thank you to Gord Crossley here at the Fort Garry Horse Museum at Strachan Armories for allowing me to take a look at this neat kit. I'll see you next time on another episode of Cabinet of Curiosities, where we'll look at yet more interesting devices and, yes, forgotten weapons just like this one. Until then, I'm Jean Messier. Have a great day.